Hey everyone, it's Joel, the State Referee Administrator for the state of Arizona, and welcome back to Meet the Assignor. Every month we're sitting down with one of our incredible Arizona assignors to hear what it's like on their side of the whistle. They're the folks making the magic happen behind the scenes, getting games covered, helping referees grow, and somehow surviving the weekend chaos. Today's guest is Paul Gallegos, and I can't wait for you to meet him. Paul, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. It is finally great that we can do this. I'm super excited that we can get through this. Well, let's get right into it. Paul, we've got a couple questions for you. How did you first get involved in assigning, and what keeps you even doing it?
Oh my gosh. I was working as just a referee. I was working for Tom Fisher back in the day. And he was like, "Hey man, I am overwhelmed with all this." And I asked him, "What is all this?" And he told me, "Well, assigning." So I asked him to explain what he was doing, and I said, "This is kind of interesting. Maybe I could get into that." And from that point on, it just pointed me into the right way and said, "Yeah, we can get you in." And Thunder would be happy to sponsor you because he was like, I want to retire and I want to pass it along." And I went, "Okay." So that's kind of where I started from. Thunder took a chance on me, and I've tried to pay them back as much as I can.
That's awesome. How long ago was that now?
Gosh, that's been, I want to say, 6 years now.
Okay, so you're still relatively new in the assigning game.
Yeah, it was before COVID. So I would like to say it'd be about 6 years, maybe 7. It's been a while. And then
Yeah, what keeps you doing it then?
doing it?
Yeah.
Just the fact that I feel like it's something, I know I get paid for it, but I like to believe that I'm helping. I like to give back to the community, and this is one of the ways that I try to give back to the community, the soccer community. I grew up playing soccer. When I was young, my son played it for many, many years. I've been a referee for a long time now. This is my 17th year as a referee. And I feel like I do this as part of giving back to the community because it's something that I see kids able to grow with and move on into their adult lives with.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's a sport we all love, and we couldn't do it without people like you in the game, Paul. So thank you so much. Next question then. What's one thing most referees don't realize about the assigning process?
There's a lot of work that goes into it, from taking input from the referees, their availability, when they're around, how often that they can ref, what their experience level is, and then matching that to games. And I spend a lot of time looking through and saying, hey, this person can do this level. They don't have this much experience, so maybe we bring them down to a different level and work it that way. But I spend a lot of time doing that, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. So when they come back and say, "Hey, how come I haven't gotten anything yet?" I tell them, "Give me a bit, I'm working on it." But it's in the process. There's a process. Most of the referees I work with nowadays, they understand that there is a process, and it's not just an immediate response.
Yeah, it's not within 30 seconds of you saying, "Hey, I want to work Saturday," does the assigner just give you a game. There is a lot of thought and intentionality behind most of the assignments, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't take a dart and throw it at a dartboard. I'm literally looking at what games that you've done in the past, and who were those opponents. Was there positive or negative feedback? I look at all of those issues and I say, all right, this person can work this level of game or against this team. I will actually look and specifically find referees to match up with specific clubs and teams because I've seen those teams before personally, because I go out and referee as well. So I'll look and look at those and say, all right, this person who has this personality type and has this experience can definitely work this match. And this other person, they're probably going to get eaten alive. So let's not have them on that particular game.
Yeah, that's great. So it's not just one thing that you want referees to know. It's basically behind the curtain, it is a deep, deep hole of processing and information and thought and intentionality. So that's great. What do you look for then when you're assigning referees to matches? You've kind of touched on that a little bit, but what are you looking for when you assign a referee to a match?
So I'll look at first off their experience. I want to see, if they've got a year, 2 years, 3 years, or if they've just gotten their badge within the last like 4 or 6 months. I'm looking at the game that they're asking for, or the availability that they've given in that window of time. Say I might have 6 games in that time frame, or I might just have one. I'm looking for that kind of availability in what they're doing. I want to see what their comfort level is. Are they comfortable in the middle? Are they better off on a line? And those all I'm taking into every part of that is into account into making that assignment. Because at the end of the day, I do not want to put referees in a position where they're going to fail. I want them to succeed in what they're doing. And so if I put them in a bad assignment, then I've set them up to fail, and I don't want them.
That's a great point. And that kind of goes with what we've been trying to do slowly, and what I believe U.S. Soccer is trying to push as well, is what we call assigning with development in mind. And there's a fancier word for it, but how are the assigners assigning games with that development thought process? And you kind of touched on that, right? With, I don't want to set the referee up for failure by doing a game that's too hard for them, but I also need to stretch them and get them to the next level as well. So how do you manage those two?
Well, one of the ways that it's kind of a cheat code, I'm also a referee mentor. And so I spend a lot of time out there with the referees on the field, walking around with them, talking to them, and seeing what they can do. And because of that, I'm able to get an insight on these referees and say, hey, you can do this. You can. This is gonna push your comfort zone, but I want you to be pushed here. And then there's times where I'm like, you're not ready for this, and I get more feedback from referees about that particular issue than not, because they'd be like, well, why don't I get this U16 center? Well, you're not ready for it. Well, how do you know I'm not ready for it? Because I've seen you, or I've talked to mentors who have seen you, or I've talked to longtime referees that have worked with you, and they've given me some feedback that you're not ready for that particular U16 champions division level. You might be ready for U16 division 4. And that's where I'll put you. But sometimes the age group is not just the thing, it's also the level of play.
Well, that makes sense. And that's where we as administration and mentors and coaches and assigners kind of all need to work together as well to say, these are the 4 things this person may need to work on to get to that next level. So it's not just saying you're not ready, it's you're not ready yet. And here are 3 things I need you to work on your next 2 matches to get you ready for the next match. So it's not like, I don't think you and I and others, I don't think we're leaving them out there just saying, well, you're not ready. I believe, knowing you, Paul, as well as I do, it's all about you're not ready yet, and here's more. Is that an accurate statement?
That is an accurate statement, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. And if referees are watching this and you ever feel like we're not helping you get to that next spot, please reach out to Paul or myself and let us know, because it is our intention to absolutely help you get to that next level. We do not want to stop you from progressing. So if you ever feel like you're not getting the assignments that you need and that you're ready for them, please let us know. Paul and I and any other signers are really anxious to help you get better. So, Paul, what's your favorite part of this job? And then what's the toughest part of the job?
Favorite part of the job, I would say that would be the amount of time that I spend talking to people, just learning about them, learning about what they want to do. Sometimes it's not even soccer related. I've gotten to know a lot of families, and that's always a pleasant thing to do, is because they trust me with their kids pretty much, and their kids' soccer related activities, and so that's a huge thing.
It is a unique community, isn't it?
Yes, yes. And the good thing with that is that these kids grow up, and then they come back and they say, "Hey, can you write me a letter of recommendation for a job? Or I'm doing a college entrance and they want a recommendation from somebody. Can you write that up? And I'm absolutely happy to do that because they've worked hard to get to that point. And they've trusted me to do that for them. So I feel that's worthwhile for me.
That's great. So it's a very fulfilling personally. It's not necessarily, I nailed that tournament and everyone was happy. It's more the relationships that you're building with people over a long period of time working closely.
Correct. And so that goes back to my point of I want to give back to the community, and this is another way to do it. And I feel like this is fulfilling for me.
That's awesome. What's the toughest part of the job?
The amount of hours. I am fortunate to have a boss that understands what I do. He himself is a referee, so that's also a plus. But he understands what I do. He's willing to work with me on this. I spend a lot of time in front of the computer doing assignments, and it can take a toll on you if you're not ready for it. And so that's the other reason why I actually go out and ref as well, is because you can't sit in front of a computer all day and not feel the effects of it. You've got to get outside. So.
Okay, so just the time commitment that you're putting in is extensive.
Very much so.
So let's go on a little bit of a tangent there, Paul. Knowing how big these events can be sometimes, you have the Copper Cup Challenge. Is that what it's called? Or Copper State Challenge coming up. How many games is in that tournament?
Around between 400 and 500 games usually.
Okay, so you've got about 500 games you need to assign. How long will that normally take you to do so?
So I've been really fortunate that Thunder made a commitment to me about getting the schedules early. So typically they get them to me 2 weeks in advance. But I've done tournaments before where I'll get the schedules Sunday before. The point being is that the moment I get those schedules, I'm starting. I need to work hard to get those referees assigned. I'll start with getting Friday night, then Saturday, then Sunday, in that order. Because I know that the tournament is also going to make schedule changes in that time frame. They're giving me the schedules with the caveat, hey, we're 98% done, but we've got some coach conflicts. There always are. We're going to make some changes. And so we work with that. What is that the availability of the referees needs to match up with the games. And so on Fridays, 5:30 start times, but Saturday morning, 8 a.m., and it's just an all-day affair. The assigning doesn't stop, though, just because the tournament stops. I will typically go back on after the first night on Friday night and change assignments because I saw things that were out at the fields that some referees aren't ready for certain things. I'll also change them because we get injuries. We get last-minute cancellations. So Friday night, I'm changing assignments for Saturday. Saturday night, I'm changing assignments for Sunday. Mostly because Sunday is finals and championships. And so some referees might have seen a team more than once, and then they're going to see them in the final. And I'm like, nope, don't want that. Want somebody brand new on those finals. So I'm making changes on the fly as much as possible on throughout the entire tournament, and it's for the benefit of the tournament and also for the benefit of the referees.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's important for everyone to know that this is not, each week of a tournament. Let's just say that the assigners get the assignments 1 week ahead of time. That is not an easy week if you already have a full-time job, because just assigning a tournament of that side is a full-time job plus, so 40 plus hours just to get that done. Then you have your other job and family and other commitments as well. So it really is a Herculean task to do such a thing. And then there are bigger tournaments, and then there are smaller tournaments, and then there is league play, and there's a lot going on. So hopefully you guys can all imagine now the stress and the load that these assigners carry for us to be able to get games. So patience is always good. One last question here, and then we'll get to some fun questions. Paul, if you could give one piece of advice to every referee you assign, what would it be?
Ooh,
and you can give two or three if you want, but what's one or two great pieces of advice that you could give the referees that you assign? Not specific, do this, do that, but in general, what are some things that our referees can learn by watching this?
Um, I would say that know the laws. I mean, at the basic level, you've got to know the laws. Everything else just bases off that. So, rules of competition for every tournament, every event, they are just tweaks to the main laws of the game. And if you have a solid foundation of the laws of the game, you are already halfway to the path to success. And that's the biggest thing. And there's no real excuse for you not to know this stuff, because there's even smartphone apps for the laws of the game. So you should be able to pull that up on your phone at any time and say, I've got a question, look it up. And if I don't have my phone, then ask a mentor. Call, email, send questions. I mean, we're here for that. That's why we have those mentor tags next in the names.
Yeah,
So
and that's a great piece of advice. And I know you'll get it to another one, but even Paul and I still to this day, during a game or during a halftime or whatever, we will all still talk to each other and be like, did we interpret that right? Are we reading that right? And we're always discussing it and learning. So don't feel like, oh, I've been doing this for 10 years. I know the laws.
oh
We can
no.
all be polished up on the edges and understand some nuances and things like that. So that is great advice.
And
What
there's
else?
there's always a new interpretation from our referee coaches, from our national referee coaches, that this tweaks this understanding that we had previously, and we should stay up with that. So I don't expect the new referees to go through those, but I do hope that they find the time to at least read through all of the laws and try to get some understanding of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any other pieces of advice you'd give them?
Patience. Just be patient. Let the game come to you. You don't have to force yourself into the game. Let the game come to you. It makes refereeing so much easier when you can see what's going to happen ahead of time.
That's great. That is great advice. Let's get to some maybe one or two fun questions to end this up, Paul. What is your favorite tournament or complex, but probably tournament or event to work with, and why?
Um, I would say the Heritage Cup. I have had a lot of success in that. Um, the tournament is a mid to large tournament, so there's a lot of teams that come in. Um, it has a lot of good competition. It's right before Thanksgiving, so it's usually right at the end of league play or the week after league play. Um, we get a lot of out of state referees that come in from different places like Minnesota, Virginia, Michigan, Texas, and we love to have those guys come in because they give us a different perspective. The tournament has committed to referee development, so we use that as a platform to mentor the kids, mentor our referees, and it shows the teams that we have a commitment to improvement at every step of the way. And so that is a fun thing to be a part of. And of course, there's always just the pizza parties afterwards.
Yeah, sure. It is the community. It always comes back to the community and the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. But I can speak from an admin side as well that we oftentimes use you, Paul, and the Heritage Cup and these Thunder. Is it Thunder? Is it Arizona Soccer Club now?
Arizona
Or
Soccer Club is the official name. We call it
okay,
Thunder forever.
Thunder still okay.
Yeah.
As examples of what a tournament, how a tournament could or should be run based upon the professionalism, the investment in the mentors. It really is. It really is an example of a really well-run tournament. So you have our full endorsement on that, and you and they do a great job. So thank you again for that.
I appreciate that.
Maybe just one last question. Do you have a single referee or two that have stood out to you over the years, Paul, and what made them stand out, and how have you seen them grow?
So I would say that the first one that comes to mind is Drew Johnson. I saw him at the very beginning when he was first getting into refereeing. He was pointed out to me by another assigner that said, hey, you should take a look at him, see what he's capable of. I started him in recreational league and then went all the way through the chain. Like at a point, there was a point where he was just beyond the games that I could assign because I only assign up to a certain level. And I said, you go with the state assigner. From this point forward, I don't want to see you on any of my fields ever again. You need to be up here. But I would continue to follow his progress throughout the entire thing. He would call me, email me, text me, questions, concerns. Hey, I've got a situation. What do you think about this? How did I work with this? And so when he finally ended up as Youth Referee of the Year, that was a huge thing. And I was very happy for him that he earned that spot. And so I could say that, hey, I had a little bit of a part in that development, but at the end of the day, it's all him. So, and that's where it should be.
That's great.
The other one I would have to say would be Lexi Lamond, who is right now, she just announced her engagement to her boyfriend.
It's exciting.
And I was very happy to be a part of that, announcement that she sent that to me and said, hey, I want you to do this. We're good friends away from the field, but she's another one that came into a field session that I was teaching, went from that point all the way through and said, I can do this, and ended also up as a Youth Referee of the Year. And to watch her development was astounding. Her rapid climb was amazing. She spent maybe 2 years doing this, and she made it to the top. And so, yeah, now it's she's doing her own thing in her own life, but it's that connection is always going to be there. And so the fact that she was able to say, hey, I'm engaged, look at my engagement pictures. That's great. That's a great thing. That's awesome. Again, it's community.
Yeah. Oh, that's great to hear, Paul. Thank you so much for sharing that. We know both Drew and Lexi, and we're excited for both of them. And you are right. It is about the community at the end of the day. We love and support each other. And without people like you, Paul, it makes it a lot harder. So I want to send a huge thank you to Paul for taking the time to share their story and insights with us. Our assignors are a vital part of Arizona's referee community, and we are proud to highlight the work that they do week in and week out to make the game possible. So stay tuned next month for another Meet the Assigner Spotlight. And until then, we'll see you all on the field.